This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
We're going to have both of the guys kick today. We'll kind of see where Brandon's at in terms of his health and whatnot, and go with who we feel like gives us the opportunity to go out there and compete and win.
What? What do you mean where his health is at? I feel like we've known this for a bit. Maybe. Just me?
No, just definitely not you.
Good.
It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah. If he's not healthy now, was he healthy 2 weeks? I have questions. Good thing we do that on this show, Inside Wisconsin Sports, with Trevor and Josh. What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome in. The Wisconsin Sports Radio Network is live on your radio, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook in all over the state of Wisconsin. Duluth Superior on 710 The Game. 99.7 FM, WNFL in Green Bay and the Fox Valley, 93.9 The Game in Wausau, and 12:50 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan in Milwaukee. Okay, so apparently that's the thing. There was a little kicker competition in practice yesterday.
Sure was.
Fascinating. It's nice to see everybody's well. Haven't seen him in a couple days. 12:65 was kind of napping. In order for us to get into the normal week sequence leading up to a game on Monday. So are they off? Are they not off? Do they come in for treatment? Nobody talked.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we haven't heard from them since Monday, Matt. Haven't heard from the players since Sunday. Monday, Tuesday off. Wednesday, hey, welcome back yesterday. Practice, so we'll hear from some of the players. Jordan Love spoke. Keyshawn Nixon had a very interesting answer in regards to stopping the run that I can't wait to share with you. I don't think, Josh, did you get a chance to listen to that when I said
I did not hear that one yet. No.
Wait till you hear that.
Okay.
It's going to be right up the CB1 alley in regards to how we kind of look at Keyshawn play or where he needs to be. I don't know, not a scout, but Matt had a lot to say, or not a lot to say about the tush push. That was going to be a question that he knew he was going to face this week with the Eagles coming to town. It was kind of fun to look back on when the Packers have been successful against the Eagles, because we know, as of late, not so much. Specifically last year.
Yep.
Go back to 2020. December 6th, 2020, Lambeau Field. I did not know this until just now, and we'll dive deeper into this as we go out throughout the show. Did you know that Jalen Hurts was our fault?
No.
Yeah. December 6th.
What did we do?
Lambeau Field. We accidentally got out to a 20-3 lead.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that gave him an opportunity?
Well, Coach said, Mr. Doug Peterson said, this ain't working. Carson, you sit down. Hey, Jalen, it's 20-3. Come on. Guess what? He was the starter the next game, and they haven't looked back.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would have happened regardless.
Well, it just sucks that it was our fault.
Sure. Did Packers won that game?
Yeah, that was the last time the Packers beat the Eagles, was December 6, 2020.
Well, I also don't like that.
Yeah, bet a minute. But it was interesting to see. Like, I saw that Carson Wentz got benched, and Jalen Hurts was brought in. And I was like, okay, did Jalen Hurts play much before that? I feel like that wasn't his debut. And that's true. He played a little bit before that, semi-sporadically in regards to coming in and out. He's a good runner. And then I said, all right, well, when did he start then? When was he named the starter? The next game. Literally December 8th. He's starting now. Because us getting to a 20-3 lead and then us winning 30-16, that 13 points apparently made the difference for Carson Wentz, and Jalen Hurts makes his debut, and the rest is history. Whoopsies.
Yeah.
I guess we'll take the blame on that one. Sorry, NFL.
It's in the past.
Yeah, they've been pretty good since then.
That's what I'm saying. Like that It would have happened regardless. It wasn't going to, I don't think it would have been that he was going to live in the shadows and never get a shot.
You know who is not living in the shadows and looks like he's going to get a shot, specifically at the Brewers? Brandon Woodruff. Extended offer yesterday. We'll talk a lot about that and break it down on what that all means. I feel like we read about this and knew that this was plausible. What I don't understand is why that just wasn't offered to begin with. Maybe they had to go through here's an offer, or we have this option. No, got it. Here's $10 million. Next, new offer. Got it. But why didn't we just, that was a lot like
Yeah, I have a lot of questions about how this all came to be.
Very odd. And Ricky Weeks yesterday as well. Promotion? Is that it? Is that how we're saying? And
I don't know.
It looks a lot, smells a lot like what Craig Counsell went through. We'll break that down for you. Holy moly, what's going on in Madison?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 7 a.m. hour today. Morning mind dump.
Lots. But to set you up for success on your day, in case you're not here, Chris McIntosh came out and said, we are sticking with Luke Fickell. Pause. Why do you have to tell us that? He's under contract. We all know that the buyout is $1 gazillion, and yet you felt the need to come out and say, we have made a decision. We are sticking with the contract we all signed.
He was asked that, and he gave an answer. It's an interesting answer, but he did answer your question of why now.
Very fascinating just to have to sit down and talk about it. And whoa, I mean, the fuses that lit yesterday.
Oh yeah,
about all of the feedback. We'll say it's feedback. If Chris McIntosh's
nice way of putting it,
mailbox is open, I think he has a letter or two that he needs to read today. And from names that we all recognize. And the feedback was before yesterday. We'll check back in with Joe Thomas and remember what he had to say when he was on with us here on Inside Wisconsin Sports. And then we heard from J.J. Watt, or didn't we hear from J.J. Watt? That's also kind of a fascinating tale. And Big Cat from Barstool, you might be led to believe, didn't hold much back about the situation. We'll check in that with the morning mind up at 7 o'clock. But in case you're not with us, there was a thing or two yesterday that came out in Chris McIntosh. And there's a lot of people essentially suggesting, kind of like I did yesterday on this very show, it appears he's going to go down with the ship. We are in rough weather. The waves are tall, banging on the boat. And it's repetitive. What? Red at night, sailor's delight. Red in the morning. It's red out right now for the Badgers. Not good.
I feel like usually that's better associated with the Badgers than it is in this case.
Red at night would be great for the Badgers, but it looks red in the morning, and it's not so good. I just can't think of a time in sports when there was this level of defiance. And I think Wisconsin fans would look at this moment and go, bro, you just had to fall on the sword. All you had to do was go, you thought that was going to work. I thought that was going to work. We all thought that was going to work. Turns out that didn't work. But he's not. He's
sticking with it.
I don't think he's puffy chested about it, though. I don't think he's not saying, "Wow, I'm the athletic director and I make the decisions around here." I haven't heard that from him.
Yeah,
but that's certainly the impression that we're getting after the "do it once, shame on you; do it twice, shame on me," and do it more. Like, hey, hello.
Yeah. Listen, when he talked yesterday, the audio is amazing. If you aren't going to be listening at 7, you're going to want to make sure to find the podcast later, because the morning mind dump is going to be a good one on this show this morning.
Wherever you listen to podcasts, open it up, type in Inside Wisconsin Sports. There we shall pop up, and you'll have the option to choose what you missed in terms of the time of day here on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. The most electrifying sound of the day is exciting, too. There is something from that December 6, 2020 game at Lambeau Field that is memorable, and maybe that's a good sign in regards to how it's going to go on Monday night. Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, Keyshawn Nixon all talked. We mentioned that. Big 8 o'clock hour today.
Oh, what's happening?
Caleb Durbin joining us on Inside Wisconsin Sports at 8
Yeah, baby.
o'clock. NL Rookie of the Year finalists. I have questions for him in regards to what he thinks he did so well. We know what he did pretty well, but how does it settle with him? What does he think? Amongst other things, how is the season? He is a Northwoods League baseball alum here in Wisconsin. He played for the Fond du Lac Dock Spiders. Our thanks to them for helping get this interview set up, and our friend Rob Zerjav, who we've had on this show before. He's at the Timber Rattlers, but he and a group also own the Fond du Lac Dock Spiders in the Northwoods League. So we kind of forget that any player that we see wear a Brewers uniform that came up through the system came up through Appleton. They probably, per our conversation yesterday, Josh, have a bobblehead of themselves someplace.
They if they didn't have one when they were there, they definitely did after they left. Yeah.
Also true. Yeah, if they moved on and made it someplace, the T-Rats do a great job of going, hey, we should turns out that Mizrowski guy is pretty good.
Should make a bobblehead of him because he played here.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then people go, oh, I wouldn't want that bobblehead. I think that's how you and I kind of conversed about this yesterday was we want the bobblehead. I want all the bobbleheads, but I want to make sure there's a story with it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite bobbleheads is from the Timber Rattlers, actually. They have a problem in Appleton, and it's called spring. And it snows in the spring. And they have to play baseball in the spring. And too often, Appleton is chasing their field. And there's been moments where there's inches upon inches of heavy, wet spring snow that Wisconsin does such a great job offering. And one of the players, don't remember who, off the top of my head, built a snowman on home plate and then took a bat to it. And it went as viral as something like that can. And I think it was the next season they made a bobblehead of that. Only it was the snowman that was doing the bobbling.
Sure.
And it's a fun video. Look that up. The Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line is open for you, 414-677-1250. We'll hear from Andy Herman at 8:25 today and then run down the weekend. There's a lot going on in Wisconsin sports tonight in terms of basketball, over the weekend, obviously, as we get ready for Monday Night Football at Lambeau Field here in Green Bay. Whoa, people are up this morning. Justin from the Port. He goes to bed with us, and he wakes up with us. Justin does.
He sure does.
Luke Fickell back for 2026. Boy, has he certainly earned it. You believe that, Justin?
I don't think so. I don't think he does. But maybe. Listen, this isn't, I want to get everyone's opinion on what McIntosh said and the decision that was made. And that's the beauty of the morning mind dump, is that it's not going to be just bashing. There are going to be some people that went, this was the right decision.
The 4-4, this is Jeff in Fox Point. Hi, guys. Please tell me why the Badgers bringing back the coach who has led the Badgers to its worst 3-year period in over a generation. I've been going to Badger games almost my whole 43 years on this earth. Next year, there's no way I'm going to spend a cent to go watch this team. I have a feeling many more season ticket holders feel the same way. The program will be losing money till they get rid of Fickell and McIntosh. Jeff, you'll hear at 7. If you didn't hear yesterday, there's money coming out of the woodwork someplace. We are tripling, double dipping down. I mean, all of the downs. We're doing it. We found money. It was buried in a cedar chest in the back. Turns out we need that money in order to succeed.
Is that it? That's going to be the big thing we find out. Was that the problem? Is that the whole problem? We'll see.
The 262 says, hey, wait a minute. It's been a week since Halloween. Trevor's Halloween costume was so great. Can he wear it every Friday? Hashtag Nicolay Law. Last week, Friday, Halloween, I dressed up as the Nicolay Law billboard.
Yeah.
Bald guy, beard, sunglasses, held up a sign. It was fun.
Well, I want to thank Russell Nicolay for listening this morning. Appreciate that.
Kirsten from Green Bay. Good morning, guys. Lots of echo on YouTube. We'll work on that. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I got that fixed.
Echo all fixed. Jason in Wind Lake. Bucky is going to get so fat with the lack of push-ups the next few years. That is fun to watch. Have you ever sat in the student section at Camp Randall Stadium?
Nope.
You need to. It is like every human being that is a Badgers fan should sit in the student section at some point in their life. And you will get looks. It is a thing. You're the old guy now, and now you want to come in and sit in the student section. I've done that as a grown adult. It's been a number of years. It is a good time.
Interesting.
Really, really good time in the student section. And that reference is to every time Wisconsin scores, Bucky does push-ups. And that is apparently something that is going to cause him to do what most of us here in Wisconsin do, is just sit and watch and grab a beer, most likely. Has an athletic director ever said what he said and still fired a coach? Can that happen? I wonder if he can come back out and say, you know what? Actually, the rest of this season went horribly bad to the point where I'm going back on that. We're not going to keep him.
You think he's going to take that back?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I don't think he can.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line. So much to get to today. Caleb Durbin at 8 o'clock, Andy Herman, and 9 to noon with Kuhn. What will the Packers have to do to beat the Eagles on Monday night? Find out from the voice of the Packers, Wayne Larrivee, joining 9 to noon with Kuhn this morning at 10 a.m. here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. And Wayne actually joins Josh and I on Inside Wisconsin Sports on Monday at 8 a.m.
That's right.
We'll have to see if Wayne says some things today that would make us feel good about the weekend, and then something happened over the weekend. We should ask him the same question on Monday morning and be like, well, that something happened.
Did your answers change? Yeah.
Yeah. How is this kicker thing going to shake out before we get to break?
Well, say again.
How is this kicker thing going to shake out, in your opinion?
You know, if I felt more confident in the Packers head coach to make a decision, I might have a better answer for you. My guess is it's going to be McManus. Even though he's not 100%, they're going to just keep doing the same thing they've done. And they're just going to make McManus keep going out there until he is 100%.
Matt talked about it yesterday. We'll hear from him about 7:25-ish today when we talk Packers, Badgers at the top of the hour for the morning mind dump. It's interesting because they asked him, well, why are you so confident? Because we as fans are watching the same game you are, and we're not so confident. And he came out and said, because I see it every day. Okay.
No, not every day.
What are you seeing?
If you saw it every day, you'd also see it the days we did.
What I want to know is, and we don't have the chance to ask him this, but when he watches yesterday specifically, and we will hear from him today, when you watch those two dudes kick and you see them both make kicks, what else are you assessing? Is it form? Is it strength of kick?
Right.
Mason Crosby said this yesterday on the Mason Crosby Show, noon to 2 on Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. He talked about how difficult that is for the long snapper and the holder. I thought that was fascinating because each kicker has their own nuances.
Yeah.
Each kicker wants the ball held a certain way, laces here, tilt this way. And I think that's hard for Whelan and hard for the long snapper to adjust on the fly. And so they did. It went well for Haversick. But if they're both kicking in practice, that means, let's just say they go every other. That's a hard gig for Daniel Whelan because each kicker has their own nuances. I love listening to Mason Crosby talk about kicking in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's why we have
It's
him.
super interesting.
That's why we have John Kuhn. Those two dudes did it. We get to listen to them every single day on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, 9 to noon with Kuhn and Mason Crosby from noon to 2. When we come back, I have questions, and so does Josh, and probably so do you. 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line. We're back in a bit. This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Join us live on YouTube, youtube.com/@WI Sports Radio, and on X as well, @WI Sports Radio. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht, and some news yesterday from the Milwaukee Brewers organization that we got some questions about, Josh. The Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line 414-677-1250. If you have questions, get them in. We will read yours and do our best to answer them. Josh and I have questions every single day. Sometimes they're the same questions. Sometimes they're different questions. Today, they're the same-ish, and
Yes.
It revolves around the Brewers. So you saw yesterday that Ricky Weeks had some news to share, and Brandon Woodruff did as well.
Yes, and from those topics came lots and lots of questions. Lots of questions.
What's your first one?
My first question is about Brandon Woodruff and what exactly is happening here and why things were done this way by the Brewers organization.
We had Jeff Levering on Wednesday. He joined us at 7 a.m. for the morning mind dump, and our question to him was simple. Will you please explain arbitration to us?
Mm-hmm.
And what this means and why these offers go this way and some players go that way and the buyout this and it's dizzying. Here's what we can surmise in regard to Brandon Woodruff yesterday. So he declined the $20 million option that was the mutual option between him and the club because his buyout was $10 million.
Correct.
So he got a check and he put said check in the bank.
Right, and it was his decision on, it was not a club option. It was his
option. A mutual option. Yep, it was a mutual option, and he optioned to take the money.
Yep.
And essentially become a free agent. That's what he is now. By the way, what do you do with a $10 million check? Do you put that in the bank?
I mean,
I don't know how that works.
What I would do with a $10 million check and what Brandon Woodruff does with a $10 million check are probably a little bit different.
Can you legally cash a $10 million check? How does that work? I don't know the rules.
I don't know, but I would be on guard from everyone and then immediately drive to like a bank and say, like, I need to see manager alone now. I'm not robbing the place, I promise. But
yeah. Can you and I go meet in a room real quick? I have a check in my pocket that I don't know what to do with.
Yeah.
But I feel like we need to do something with it.
There might be a hold on this. You might have to put a hold on this one.
Yeah, is this available right away?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd like to cash this out.
Asking for an agent. Yeah, I don't think you get to cash that. I don't think you can hold that much money. All right, so he declined the mutual option of $20 million, and he got a check for $10 million.
Yes.
Then he becomes a free agent.
Yes.
Yesterday, the Brewers extended what's called a qualifying offer. What makes it qualifying? We don't know. We didn't talk to Jeff about the word qualifying in all this arbitration stuff, but I believe it means it's somewhere within the range that he would be getting paid in terms of arbitration. That's my understanding. If we're wrong.
According to AI, a qualifying offer is a one-year contract in MLB for a specific salary determined by the average salary of the top 125 players that eligible free agents can receive from their former team. If a player rejects the offer and signs with another team, the original team receives draft pick compensation.
Oh, so they did that to cover the CYA. Got it. That makes sense. All right. So the qualifying offer based on those rules was $22.025 million.
Mm-hmm.
The original option was $20 million. So did we do all of this for $22 million? And it's a one-year offer for 2026 only. what's puzzling is I believe Adam McKelvey came out with a story while all of this was going on and said, by doing this, the Brewers risk paying Brandon Woodruff $32 million like this year. Here we are. It is literally $32 million if he accepts that offer.
So I heard that the buyout wouldn't go into that total for like what the Brewers spent for next season.
Correct.
Because it would be, that's on last year's books, which
Cool.
I was sitting here going, it's baseball. None of that matters because there's no caps or anything. So who cares what year the books it's on?
Well, if you're Brandon Woodruff, and he has until November 18th to accept this offer. So a couple days ago, he got a check for $10 million. Now, granted, he's not going to get a check for all of the offer. That is $22 million, but that's a fairly good couple weeks at work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we will see what he chooses. But at the end of the day, he's on the free agent market right now.
Yeah. So here's how I'm looking at this, and I'm interested to know what the rest of the fan base thinks about where things sit now. As you mentioned, the Brewers made this offer essentially saying, okay, we think he's going to get paid more somewhere else. And if he does, then we're going to get a premium draft pick because he signed elsewhere. If Woodruff calls their bluff, though, and he goes, no, I'll pitch here for one more year, then we're paying Brandon Woodruff $22 million for 1 year of service. I don't know that. I mean, it was very mixed in what I saw on X of just how Brewers fans felt about this. On one hand, spend the money, right? It doesn't go against the cap. So what does it matter? I want Woodruff on this team. I want to win now.
What cap?
Right. Spend the money. On the other hand, there were a bunch of people saying, no, he's been hurt the last 2 years. All I hear is we don't have money. We didn't have $900,000 to keep the arbitration thing away from Contreras. And now we're going to pay $22 million to Woodruff? Absolutely not. He better not take that deal. I'm very up in the air. I don't know what I want to happen here.
What's interesting about the way you're talking, Josh, is that we are here now spending the money that Brewers fans have wanted Attanasio to spend for quite some time. There's an offer for $22 million to a single player who has been injured as of late. Mm-hmm. When I say late, I mean like the last 2 years. And now we're not sure we should spend that money? Like, what am I missing? What do we want as Brewers fans?
Yeah, I think we want him to spend the money, but we know that if that money is accepted by Woodruff, we're going to hear about it down the line. It's going to be, well, there's only so much money, a small market team, blah, blah, blah. We had to pay Woodruff $22 million for 1 year, and he didn't even pitch the whole season. Hopefully he does. But, those conversations live in the back of the minds of Brewers fans because that's the narrative we heard year in and year out for years. So this piece, if this was, hey, we're going to start spending money, and I'm proving it to you by starting with a $22 million qualifying offer to Brandon Woodruff, and we're going to spend money here, we're going to spend money there, then maybe we feel differently. I feel like Brewers fans are looking at this as, if Mark Attanasio and this Brewers team is only focusing on one area where they're going to splurge a little bit, I don't know that I want it to be a 1 year offer to Brandon Woodruff. And that kind of creates the back and forth.
Interesting. We'll have to see what other people say. For me, cool. If Woody can stay healthy, which they believe he can based on that offer, which means the injury that ended his season this last year wasn't as catastrophic as everybody feared it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So we're okay. If we got the money, spend the money. We clearly missed him in the playoffs. Clearly. I mean, for Jose Quintana to walk as fast as he did in regards to these options, and then for them to offer $22 million in a 1 year deal to Brandon Woodruff, you tell me who they wish they would have had in the postseason. Sure. It's not Quintana.
Right. Having Woodruff there, though, doesn't cost them $32 million. That's as soon as the playoffs ended, the postseason ended for the Brewers. Now it's a completely different conversation. That's the whole thing about Milwaukee, is that you can't just say, yeah, we like him, we're going to continue it. we as fans have to think about the numbers and contracts and all this other stuff because we know that our owner and our team aren't going to spend the money that some of these other organizations do.
But isn't that completely hypocritical for us to sit here and go, okay, you don't spend money. We're cheap. How are we ever going to compete if we don't spend money? Hey, Brandon Woodruff, here's an offer for $22 million in one season. What are we doing? Why are we giving that guy money? What am I missing? Like, if we want the owner to spend money but he's spending money,
but we literally already had an example with Contreras of a bad look of it looking cheap. We talked to Jeff.
Here's the opposite of what it looks like. Other than cheap, this is what non-cheap looks like for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Jeff literally said that $900,000 is important. People don't realize that can pay for another player on your team, another Caleb Durbin, another person that can be on this. Okay, so if you're going to tell me on one end we can't give that money in good faith and showing a good relationship with Contreras, and we have to go through the arbitration process with him over $900,000, but we're going to make a $22 million offer to a not pitching in the postseason Brandon Woodruff, those are conflicting ideas.
Why are they conflicting? Why are they conflicting?
Because on one we were cheap and on one we were earned.
So why is that conflicting? It wasn't a cheap decision. Jeff told us it was strictly based on business. If they can save $900,000 in an arbitration hearing for a guy that's within that window, because that's how the business of baseball works, the 3 to 6 year quote unquote veteran window, that's how arbitration works. That is the window in which the collective bargaining agreement, which is going to get set on fire after this season, shows teams that they can do this. So that's just simple math. That's plausible. That's exactly how this works. For us to offer Brandon Woodruff $22 million is everything that we as Brewers fans have been asking for. So for us to be frustrated by that seems nuts to me. Totally just to me.
The 920 on the Nicolay Law fan talking text line says, this is like the cheap guy that saves his money all the time and then goes and blows it all in one night at the club.
Boy, was that a great night.
That's what I'm saying. If you we hear him, that's all we hear is complain, not enough money, cheap. And then, bah, but we'll do this. We'll make this one move. If it goes immediately back to cheap after the Woodruff move, we're going to judge the Woodruff move.
That is the most pessimistic thing you've said in 2 months of us doing this.
How is that?
Because we cannot sit and complain that the owner doesn't spend money. And then when the owner spends money, we can't complain that he's spending money. That doesn't work. We don't get to decide where he's going to write a check and where he's not. We're simply asking him as fans, can we spend a little bit more money? So yesterday, he makes an offer to what could potentially be our ace pitcher. Clearly, the open market suggests he's worth this. And we as Brewers fans go, hey, Mark, spend more money. Okay, here you go, guys. $22 million for who will most likely be our ace pitcher. And we have that money because we still have control of Contreras and we still have control of Peralta, and we're getting a steal for both of those guys. So you want me to spend money? Here you go. Here's a check for $22 million to a guy that we need to have in our rotation. Why are we spending so much money? What? I don't get it. Moving on. Ricky Weeks also got a quote-unquote promotion yesterday. I think it's a promotion.
I'm going to call it a lateral move.
If it was, then it wouldn't make sense that Craig Counsell did it either. So Craig Counsell had a very similar move. Once he was finished playing in Major League Baseball, he became a special assistant to GM Doug Melvin, a non-ceremonial role that involved him in essentially every aspect of the organization, including, key point here, scouting and player development before he was named manager in 2015. So that was his role from 2012 to 2015 when he became manager. Yesterday, the Brewers announced that Ricky Weeks has shifted from associate manager, which is like manager in training, if you will, in the dugout, to now going, all right, bud, you understand that? We need you to do pretty much the same thing Craig did in order for you to become the manager, which is to understand the baseball operations as a whole. And so he becomes special assistant baseball operations, and he's in charge of, or at least overseeing, domestic/international scouting. That wasn't nearly what it is today when Counsell was in this position. My understanding is that's why that's in the title now. Mark Antanasio, speaking of investing, has quite the investment in the Dominican Republic.
So are you saying Ricky Weeks to the Cubs confirmed 8 years from now? Is that what you're saying?
We got a little bit more than that out of Council.
Okay.
He became manager in 15, and that whole debacle went down, in 2024?
I can't help but feel like this was
23?
When Weeks first got the job, behind Murph, everyone kind of thought, all right, Council left, Murph's taken over, but really he's just keeping the seat warm for Ricky. And then kind of like with the Packers, when they drafted Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers was still there, just like Aaron Rodgers went and balled out for 2 MVPs, Murph went out and got back-to-back NL Manager of the Years. And it was well, we're not going to get rid of him.
Did you just guarantee he's going to be NL Manager of the Year? Is that what you just said? Back-to-back NL Manager
Did
of the
we
year?
not already agree? How the heck could he lose it?
Sure, but every time I make guarantees, I get absolutely blasted.
Well, then that one will be on me.
Okay.
But I think it forced the Brewers' hands to be like, hey, yeah, we're not moving off of Murph. So we obviously love you, Ricky. We want you to be a part of the organization, but we're changing the timeline a little bit.
I don't know that that's true. I think the same thing happened with Council. Who was manager in 2012 of the Brewers when Council joined the front office?
Oh,
thinking. Help us, Nicolay Law fan talking text line 414-677-1250. Who was the manager of the Brewers when Council took over in 2015? Whatever it was, they were happy with him while Council was quote unquote in training. This move is the
Ron
Renneke. This move is the exact same advice that I got when I was first getting into radio when I was 16 years old. Trev, you know how to do the board stuff, the mic stuff. You know how to speak and all that. Learn the business side of this so that you understand all of it. That appears to be what's happening with Ricky Weeks, so that when it is time to move on from Pat Murphy, he's ready. And so he spent 2 years literally under his wing in the dugout. And now, are we ready? Set, go. And that might have been, by the way, a behind-the-scenes conversation with Murph, going, hey, bud, how long? Out of curiosity, we all know why Ricky is here. I thought Ricky was going to be the manager, by the way. I thought he was going to be the next manager prior to Pat Murphy.
Yeah, I think everyone did.
That was well, though.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think that there was a little bit of a swerve, a necessary swerve, because Murph is the man.
Yeah, I like it. That's exciting to see that the Brewers are planning for the future, both monetarily and in the manager's department/office. Exciting. The most electrifying sound of the day is next, and it has to do with the last time the Packers beat the Eagles. There was a big play in that game back on December 6th of 2020 to, you'll hear it, a very empty stadium. So weird to think back to that. That's next on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Welcome back, Wisconsin Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Time for this morning's most electrifying sound of the day.
Split to the right. The motion to the right side from Lazard. Quick toss left side. Devontae's got it. He gets by Slay to the pylon for the end zone. Touchdown! Devontae Adams with a touchdown. And for Aaron Rodgers, his 400th career touchdown pass. He's the fastest to 400 in NFL history.
And that is the most electrifying sound of the day, brought to you by our friends at Best Electric. Remember, no job is too big or too small for Best Electric. Don't stress. Connect with the best. Call them today or visit bestelect.com.
So that was Wayne Larrivee on the Green Bay Packers Radio Network back in 2020, Lambeau Field, December 6th. Green Bay led 23-3 before Philly made it a little dicey, and that's when Jalen Hurts replaced Carson Wentz. It's all our fault. It is all our fault. We are sorry, NFL. It was Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers' fault that made then Eagles leader Doug Peterson go, "Hey, Carson, come here. Sit over here.
Take a seat, bud."
Got it. Jalen, you're on. And he was named the starter 2 days later. But that sound was Aaron Rodgers' 400th touchdown pass. And we know he's got 500. And Jordan Love is 83, I believe, is the number. He's got a couple 2-3 more to go before we even get to 100. But by golly, we've only just begun with him. That feels very fast to me anyway.
I agree.
It's fun to listen back to that. And it's also super weird because I don't know if you heard it, Josh, but there was a significant echo in the stadium when Bill Jarch, the public address announcer for the Packers, started talking. You can just hear everything reverberating off of the bleachers. That is so interesting to think back on.
Yeah, it was a very weird time.
My first full season as public address announcer for GB men's basketball was at the Crest Center when all of the games were there during COVID. And I was literally announcing to a empty arena. It blew my mind. What am I doing here? Why do I have to do this? Well, for the players and for the coaches, and because they need to hear you say what it is. I remember Aaron Rodgers commenting back then that he wanted the Packers production staff to do all of the normal things that they do during a normal game, just without the fans there. I mean, the Miller Lite race to the cooler was something that he wanted to see on the Jumbotron. He wanted to see the attendance tracker.
Yeah.
There's 17 people here, Aaron.
I love that, though.
Yeah. Kind of
Why not?
You could hear it loud and clear. But that was the last time the Packers beat the Eagles, 30-16. We can do it. We got this.
Yeah. Hey, look at what we did to the Steelers.
Look what we did to the Panthers.
No. Oh, look at Mr. Pessimistic over there.
No, it's realistic. Come on. It's realism. It's just that's how I look at it. The score was 16-13.
I mean, yes, they did lose.
Those are the facts. Yeah, Philly was trailing 20-3 when the Eagles, quote unquote, needed a spark. Wentz out. He was 6 of 15 for 79 yards at that time. That's when Jalen Hurts went in. Yowza. Man, that's crazy to just think back. And I mean, Aaron Jones had a good game, 130 yards rushing, and he had a career long 77-yard rush. In that.
I remember that run.
Aaron Jones. That was
God,
fun.
I love him. He's awesome.
I love Josh Jacobs, though, too.
Yeah, same.
All right, the morning mind dump is next. If you think we're done with this whole Badger football thing, you got another thing coming.
No.
Stick around. The morning mind dump inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Yeah, it's a really interesting time in college football. Obviously, all of us Wisconsin Badger fans are disappointed with the Luke Fickell.
Feels like you got to step up and maybe sell one of their soccer teams so you can invest directly into Luke Fickell's pockets in that team. Have you thought about that?
We need to play better. Yes, we do, significantly.
Why don't you go give a speech?
I did. Didn't work.
Oh, no.
I'm so sorry.
Because the culture is broken, and that's where Chris McIntosh thinks that they can slap a Band-Aid on it. It's going to take time to rebuild this, and it's not going to be Luke Fickell and Chris McIntosh. I'm pretty convinced of it. So going another year down this road is just delaying it for another year and going another year down into like the bottom of the Big Ten. I don't think they fully grasp how behind they are right now in the new college football landscape. And every second they keep their head in the sand, they're going to be even further and further behind.
Oh boy. It is a fascinating time for Wisconsin football in Madison, and somehow it got worse yesterday, which I didn't see coming. What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome in Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
That was Joe Thomas when he was on with us on this very show, Inside Wisconsin Sports. It was J.J. Watt speaking, I believe, yesterday to Pat McAfee and going, I gave a speech. It didn't work, and we need to play better.
Yeah, I'm not talking about this. Move on.
And then he came on, by the way, on Twitter when somebody blasted him yesterday for not writing a check.
Yeah.
He goes, bro, I was a walk-on.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, this is weird. Why is it so weird? And then, if you would believe Big Cat from Barstool wouldn't mince words, we just took a portion and shared it with you here.
Sure didn't. He told it how it was.
There's a lot more to come, and we will now hear from Chris McIntosh as well. We call this the Morning Mind Dump. Do you have some thoughts, Wisconsin, on what's happening with Wisconsin football and the announcement by Chris McIntosh yesterday that essentially allowed all of us to go, really? We're doing this again. All right, let's get it off our chest, out of our heads. It's Friday. Let's not carry this into the weekend, but they play tomorrow. Crap, you're right. All right, Morning Mind Dump. Okie dokie, here we go. We got this. We got this. We can do this. So,
yeah.
Big breath. Big breath.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Josh, will you please begin us with a piece from Chris McIntosh to set all of this up?
Let's talk about this quick, okay? So if you are live under a rock and you didn't see, so McIntosh makes a decision. He puts something out there that says, hey, everyone, Luke Fickell, he's coming back next year. He's going to be here in 2026. All of Badger-loving Nation go, what? I mean, like, just their anger from inside out, too. Just going crazy. Well, then Jesse Temple ends up doing a sit-down interview with Chris McIntosh, and he lays out some of these things, answers some questions. This is McIntosh on why Fickell is the right decision.
Yeah, it's my job, it's my role to position our program to be successful into the future. Coach Fickell has had my confidence throughout the season. We've had many conversations about how this season and some of the challenges that we've faced have gone. But as I look forward to 26 and beyond, I think it's just important to note that, my confidence in him hasn't waned at all.
Wow.
Coach Fickell is the same coach that he was when I hired him.
Nope.
I have the same belief in what he brings to Wisconsin, his ability to win. He's a proven winner. His ability to develop talent, his understanding of the Big Ten. I mean, he's essentially born and raised in the Big Ten. His appreciation for physical football, which aligns with Wisconsin. But I think as importantly, his plan and his vision for the future, and maybe most importantly, the fire that he has to be able to execute on it. And so for all those reasons, I thought it was important to share today that this is the direction that our program is going, and that we're confident and optimistic about our future.
If he's the coach that you hired and he's the same guy, I two things. One, what did he say to you that made you believe that? And two, what did Jim Leonard say that made you not believe him? If this is the same guy you hired, bad news. You shouldn't have hired him.
I mean, this has to be I know that if Fickell fails, I failed, and I'm also gone. And so I need to see Fickell figure this out if I'm going to keep my job. I don't see any other way that McIntosh says publicly the things that he just said. I don't understand how he can go out there and say, I have confidence in him. He's the same coach that he was when I hired. No, he's not. He's not. Look at the records. Look at you can't act like you don't see and hear everything going on about the football program that you are in charge of. There's no way that he can say that honestly. Hook that man up to a lie detector test. There's no way that he believes that.
Can you play the audio again from J.J. Watt, Josh? There's a fascinating piece in here that I want to make sure we hear what he didn't say. And then we'll get back to Chris McIntosh because he kept talking. But there was a piece of J.J. Watt that was very telling yesterday. You may recall, Wisconsin football fans, every single time J.J. Watt spoke, he ended what he said with, on Wisconsin. Every time. Every time J.J. Watt was on any show at any point during his playing career, he ended the interview with, hey, thanks for having me on Wisconsin. This is what he sounded like yesterday on Pat McAfee.
You're both in the middle of America. You're potentially competing for the same type of players. Feels like you got to step up and maybe sell one of those soccer teams so you can invest directly into Luke Fickell's pockets in that team. Have you thought about that?
We need to play better. Yes.
Pause.
We do.
That's it. No on Wisconsin. No, here we go. No, we're excited.
Yeah.
We need to play better.
Yeah. He's disappointed. He's upset, and he doesn't want to talk about it.
He also is not willing to invest in it. That's what he said without saying. At least I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but if you got questioned by Pat McAfee, he's on the show every week. JJ makes an appearance with McAfee every week. If he says you need to fill Fickell's pockets with money, Mr. Moneybags, and stop buying soccer teams and help the program out, JJ goes, yeah, we need to play better. Does that mean that he's not investing in the program? Does that mean he doesn't see value in investing in the program? He goes on to say he made a speech and it didn't work. Oofda. This is wild. I never thought we would be here. But yet we all thought when Fickell was hired, at least all is a big word. Hell, I did. When they hired Fickell, I was like, why not Jim Leonard? Not Jim Leonard because of Luke Fickell. Okay. Makes sense to me.
When I first heard the news, before I had seen the audio, when I had first heard the news, I went, okay, the question we all had of, will the Badgers pay the money to move on from Luke Fickell, or will they say, we can't afford to make that decision to move on from Luke Fickell, because if we did, we might as well put that money back into paying for more players. That was the decision that was up in the air. What way are the Badgers going to go? Then they make the announcement, hey, we're sticking with Fickell, and I went, okay. Well, it's because they don't have the money to buy him out. Obviously, McIntosh can't come out and say that. He can't.
You think that's the truth? You think it's because we don't have the money?
That's what I thought until then the conversation changed and McIntosh starts going how we found money. You talked about it in the first segment of the show. There's a trunk that was in the back of the attic that had money in it, apparently, that now all of a sudden the school is going to bring out and give to the athletics. What? So then that's not the argument.
McIntosh kept talking. He goes on to talk a little bit more about this.
Yeah. So this is why McIntosh said, why now? He was asked, why now? There's still 4 games left in the season. Why make this decision and announcement now?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think it's important to note, this is an announcement around where we're going and what the future will be. I have had confidence in Luke throughout the season. We've battled through many challenges. Our players continue to battle through those challenges. Injuries obviously being one of those. I'm really proud of the way that our players continue to fight and continue to give this program their all. We've not lost that, and that's one of the things that I'm very proud of and grateful for their efforts. I think I owe it to our players. I think I owe it to those players, those recruits that have committed to us. I think I owe it to our fans, given a lot of the speculation that's just been out there in the world, in the ethos. And I think I owe it to all of them to provide the clarity and certainty about where we're going in the future.
Yeah, okay. I appreciate the fact that you think that you owed the fan base an answer. Okay. I like that you didn't just sit in your desk and avoid the question. Fine. But to come out, if that's the answer, and say it now, that was a mistake. I understand you weren't going to let Fickell go with 4 games left in the season, right? It's not like they were going to fire him, and you're not going to say, yep, enjoy the last 4 games of the Fickell era, because at the end of the season, we're cutting them. You're not going to say that either. But how can you also say, I owe it to this fan base, I owe it to the players? Think about if you are a college football, you're a football player, you're going to college, you're choosing where you're going to play. You chose the Badgers, and this is the result of your 4 years of eligibility that you have, and this is how they're being wasted. And then for McIntosh to come out and say, well, I owe it to the recruits that have committed here to give them this answer. You owe it to them to tell them, yes, sorry, I'm wasting your college career because I'm sticking with the guy that has not brought success and has just gotten worse from year to year? Woof.
So what's going to change, Chris McIntosh? He goes on to say, well, here's what we have to get to, should be looking forward to as Badger fans.
Yeah, I think, one of the things that this season has shown us is that we can identify the challenges and the challenges that we've faced this season. And that allows us to develop a plan. That's a plan that we've begun to execute on.
I'm sorry, I can't. What? This was it. It was this season. It was just this season that you went, oh, okay. I get it now. These are the problems we're facing. It took getting to this point with the program for anyone to wake up and put a plan. How did all of the fan base, all of the media, everyone else be well aware of why this team was struggling and what the issues were? And then for him to go, no, sorry, I know. Now I get it. Now I get what's wrong with our football program. And then say the solution is to keep Fickell. Okay.
The Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250. You've got a thing or two to say about this. Here we go. The 920 says, when we can't feel any worse about the Badger football program, Mac does it with his actions and his words. Embarrassing. So here's my question. Why should we have any faith in Mac or Fickell that better days are ahead when we've seen nothing in the last 3 years? That's exactly what we were just talking about. What do we need? Huh? How do we look forward to this? Justin from the Port. Hey, UW Athletics. WTF are we doing?
Yeah.
That pretty much sums it up for me. This is a really important one from the 920. It says Fickell has no relationships with high school coaches from Wisconsin. He has no connections to landing in-state recruiting. We are in trouble. That's what Barry Alvarez did so well back in the day. He built a wall around Wisconsin and said, you're not leaving. We want you to be a Badger. You were born to be a Badger. Please be here, have the conversations, and come be a Badger.
Yeah. I have one more piece I want to play here from McIntosh when he was asked what success looks like for the UW Badger football program.
I think, the priority for me is to continue to grow the program in a way that puts us in a position to achieve those expectations. That comes in many forms. It's not limited to wins and losses.
Yes, it is. Yes. Winning. It's about winning. Don't take a Mark Antanasio approach of having a fun and entertaining summer. No, your job is to help the teams win sporting games. The football team needs to win football games. That absolutely comes down to that. If you don't believe me, it'll take me 3 seconds to set it up. But Joe Thomas on the show talked about it's the number one thing that we judge teams on, wins and losses.
The 414 says, though, here's a question for you. What has to happen next year? What kind of success does he need to gain the confidence of Badger Nation? Is it just winning? If he came out and went, I don't know, 500 next year. Hey, we won more. Is that okay?
No, it's not.
So it's not just about winning. That's exactly what McIntosh was just saying.
No,
it's more than winning and losing.
But it's the expectation of how many games you're winning.
But that wasn't what he said. It's more than just winning. I know what Joe Thomas said. Play it.
And I'm not saying that I think that Luke Fickell's done a great job thus far, because you are what your record says you are. Like, that is the ultimate, without a doubt, thing that's always true in football. You're as good as your record says you are, and the Badgers are not good enough right now.
You are as good as your record is. So if they win 2 games this year and then they go 500 next year,
improvement.
But you are what your record is.
Right. But improvement.
You're still not good enough. You're being 500 isn't good enough. You still are what your record is.
And that's what McIntosh is saying. In order to build back, we start now. So that's a good question, though, from the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250. All right. The dumpster is on fire. Heard. Chris McIntosh doubling down. Badger Nation, WTF. So what needs to happen in the next year for us to go, all right, because here's what's not going to happen. The light switch will not flip. We're not going from where we are now to winning the national championship. And what's going to be good enough for Badgers fans? Wisconsin sports fans are in a really interesting predicament right now. Really interesting predicament. Look at the teams that we've talked about just this morning. The Packers, the Badgers, and the Brewers. The Brewers are spending money, and we're saying, are you sure? Wisconsin's saying he's not going anywhere, and we're going to invest. But what's going to be good enough for us to kind of go, well, that makes sense? The Packers are in first place, 5-2-1, had a couple dumper games against the Browns and the Panthers, and are playing primo football on Monday night. Hopefully playing primo football on Monday night, but we kind of feel like Lambeau Field is on fire. What a fascinating time to be a Wisconsin sports fan.
I'm completely with Big Cat on this. This is a Band-Aid. This is a PR Band-Aid saying, hey, we're keeping it together, but we got a new plan. Badgers fans know the actual plan doesn't change, and the recovery process to getting back to the program that we all need this football program to be, that doesn't start until both Fickell and McIntosh are gone. You got to clean the slate. You got to start over. And so they're going to be taking this money, whatever this pile of money is that they found, you're going to invest it in NIL deals to get recruits, and then you're going to get rid of the AD and the coach in a year. And then those recruits are either going to go somewhere else, or they're going to be in their second year now with a new head coach and a new AD. I don't understand it. This doesn't make sense. The only reason I could look at the Badgers and say, well, you're stuck and you got to keep Fickell, is the buyout and not having the money to pay him and then invest still in the future. If you're saying you have the money to invest in the future, but you're still doing it with Fickell, I'm out. I got no clue. I got nothing.
Interesting take here from the 414. Not saying this is the reason, but in the corporate world, there's a hell of a lot of times when someone wants something, but the higher ups just don't do it. Maybe this is McIntosh realizing he's messed up, and Fickell has been in his ears for years now, and finally now he's willing to do it differently. And that actually is a great point. That's
But
super
with
plausible
Fickell.
because no. He's talking about even higher up than that. This person's not talking about Fickell. He's talking about Fickell saying this is what we need to succeed. And McIntosh is going, well, this is what we have. Fickell's going, no. You didn't hear me. This is what we need to succeed in today's college landscape. And McIntosh is going, bro, I don't know how to tell you this, but we don't got it. Now, all of a sudden, the chancellor and Chris McIntosh literally are attached at the hip, coming out and saying, turns out we need more. And they found the treasure chest, and they're going to invest more and in building new facilities and paying players more. It's a pay-to-play program in college football and essentially college athletics as a whole.
But you're still saying that McIntosh believes that the success of the program includes Luke Fickell. You're saying, and that's where I'm saying I disagree. I understand there's injuries. I understand that you need more money. Every institution, every university needs more money to pay players. I understand all of that. He's getting worse and worse and worse. The overall idea and love for the Badgers athletic program is going down and down and down. You have J.J. Watt on Pat McAfee not even wanting to talk about the Badgers because of where they're at. That isn't being solved if things stay exactly as they are, but now there's more money. It's not.
Jason in the 920 sums up this conversation perfectly. Is the toilet bowl before or after New Year's?
No,
question.
They're not even seeing the toilet bowl. So
no, not this year. All right, when we come back, let's flip football teams and talk Packers. Monday Night Football cometh. It's Friday. We heard from Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, Keyshawn Nixon, and what's going on with the kicker conversation. We'll do that next here on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Reminder, Sports Talk on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL games live every Sunday all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started. More when we return. Go Pack Go. Let's worry about that. Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. We'll complain about the Badgers all weekend. We promise.
I'm fired up, man. I'm fired up now.
It's at Trevor Thomas IW, at On Air Josh, the show at Inside Wis Sports, and the network at WI Sports Radio. All right, flip the switch to the Packers, the team that actually we believe in? Question mark.
It comes to football teams, you bet.
Yeah, I think that's the one we should probably choose. All right, so 1265 woke up yesterday, meaning we got to hear from Coach. We got to hear from Jordan Love. We got to hear from Keyshawn Nixon and a few other players in the locker room. First things first, we're aware that the tush push is going to be front and center, pun intended, this Monday night. Remember, this was something that we talked with Wes Hodkwitz about yesterday as well. The Packers and the NFL, I don't know, kind of put their hands in together and was like, let's get rid of this damn thing. And it didn't work. They were 2 votes short.
Yeah.
And so, Matt LaFleur, let's talk about the tush push, shall we?
So what do you think of the tush push? I know it's a big storyline this week. I mean, I'm sure you've seen maybe some of the officiating of it.
Yeah, I think the best way to stop it is to not to allow it to happen in regards to you can't allow them in those short yardage situations because you know exactly what they're going to do, and they've been pretty successful at it, obviously.
How do you teach stopping it? Because obviously it could happen. How do you teach how?
Sure. I mean, we'll always have a plan. I guess we'll have to wait and see. There's fundamentals and techniques that I'd rather not get into.
Well, just
we can
question.
have a conversation after the game.
Has your opinion on it changed at all from the comments you made at the annual
Yes,
meeting?
I'm not going to get into it. It is what it is. The NFL made a decision, and we have to find a way to try to stop the play, and it's a tough play to stop.
What's ironic is the very next question was from Rob Domofsky.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, Matt, you did the tush push 2 years ago, and then you stopped using it. Why? And he goes, that's a good question, Rob. And then another tush push question came. Very fascinating. But boy, is that Matt LaFleur. Clear as a bell, Matt LaFleur going, guys, do you want the game plan? Like it is on script. Literally on script.
How about the best way to stop it is to handle it is to make sure it doesn't happen. I
actually get that, though. What he means by that is let's keep the Eagles offense out of positions where they would see value in using the tush push.
Oh,
that makes sense to me.
Oh, really? Yeah. Obviously.
No. That's not obvious.
What do you mean? What team doesn't want to put have a team being 3rd and short, 4th and short? Yeah. Wouldn't I would love to have it be 1st and 10, 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10, 4th and 10 every time.
What he's saying is maybe it is something that we shoot for on 3rd and 4 or 4th and 3 or those positions when we can do everything we can not to make the tush push something they go to. That makes total sense to me. It's not that that's obvious. It's that that's part of their game plan that he actually let us in on for the first time ever. They talked about this at Lambeau Field as a team in the meeting room. Guys, there ain't no stopping this thing on short downs. We all know that. So here's what we're going to do defensively, how we're going to attack their run game and put emphasis on making sure that they don't get into those situations. They asked Keyshawn Nixon about this, literally talked about the run game with Keyshawn Nixon and how major it was for them to focus on the run game. Now, Keyshawn's answer, very fascinating for Keyshawn Nixon. Hey, bud, what are we going to do about the run game? Why is that the focus?
Biggest challenge? Probably stopping the run like last week. But then also just they got guys everywhere, just like we got guys everywhere. So clash of the Titans. We've seen them twice last year. So I think our biggest thing is just getting the win, however it comes.
What was the focal point, especially being at practice today, about stopping the run and getting that cleaned up?
I don't know. I play corner.
Okay.
Perfect.
What?
Perfect. Yep.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Hey, bud.
I love that
What's
answer.
the key to the game?
I love that.
We got to stop the run. That was the focus. All the focus.
Yeah.
Well, what are your thoughts on that? I don't know. I play corner.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
What?
Well, is he lying?
Does he play corner? I think he's lying.
Oh, okay.
Does he? Is that what you're most worried about? Because that's not showing up.
No.
You're big. I don't know. I play corner. When? On Sundays? Not sure. Because if that's the case, I'd like you to start. It is no surprise to anybody that Keyshawn Nixon is not having a great year at cornerback. So for him to go, yeah, the key is to, stop the run and do all the other things, and let's just get the W. Well, Keyshawn, talk to us about what it's going to be like to stop the run. I play corner. Oh my God.
Yeah. He didn't think about a follow-up question.
No.
I believe wholeheartedly that he was sitting in team meetings where a lot of the emphasis was on stopping the run. And so when he was asked about it, he went, "Oh, run. Got it. That ain't me."
But it is him.
And then he, started counting the tiles on the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll just wait for him to say pass. When I hear the word pass, I'll start paying attention again.
All right. So
that's awesome.
We know that we're going to have to replace Tucker Kraft. We know that we got to stop the tush push. And we know that there's an emphasis on stopping the run. Well, at least we have the kicking side of things figured out, right? I mean, like that's clear as a bell what we're going to do?
Nope.
We're going to have both of the guys kick today, and
Oh.
we'll kind of see where Brandon's at in terms of his health and whatnot, and go with who we feel like gives us the best opportunity to go out there and compete and win.
I needed that audio clip from Matt LaFleur to be 2 weeks old. I needed that response from him to be exactly what he said 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right after they were going to bring McManus back in. It was, I needed that to be said. Not after McManus comes in and misses 2 field goals 2 games in a row. No. No, you should have been going to the podium, not saying, I don't know, I don't talk to kickers. That was the incorrect answer. This is now the late answer. Yeah. Correct answer, but late.
You're not sure he's healthy? What? Oh, it all depends on how his health is doing.
Why?
It's fine. It's fine. At least we have an offense that's all on the same page, right? Like we know we've learned. The offense showed up in week 1. They showed up in the second half against the Steelers. We know exactly what to do. Right, Jordan Love?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all comes back to the details. I think there's been games where we've been really crisp, executing at a high level, and then, like you said, there's these other games where it's just some of the details aren't, the focus, and we're just not hitting the same way we are. And so I think it's all about the details, just focusing on doing your job to the best of your ability. And if some stuff, if it's not working, whether it's the calls or whatever, then it's not working. But understanding that the process, the details, we're doing everything right as players to be in the best position. So I think we just got to focus on keep doing that because you could tell when you look at the tape, sometimes the details are just off. And that's where we might have some negative plays that are holding us back and making it to where we're not as consistent as we need to be.
So John Kuhn talked about that yesterday at 9 to noon.
I've heard of that, yeah.
The Packers have not shown that they can be consistent on offense. That they're not going to be able to consistently show up unless they pay attention to the details. And what Jordan Love is saying is that currently we're struggling to pay attention to the details, and that was clear as a bell on that 4th and 8, which, by the way, is exactly when Matt LaFleur should have went, no, let's not. The details were completely screwed up. They lined up wrong on the play, by the way, that Matt LaFleur knew was going to work. We are confident in this play. Did we think it was going to be 4th and 8? No, we were kind of banking on 4th and 3. But we got to play. Everybody's on the same page. They clearly, Josh, based on the last few weeks of our conversations, made a decision in advance that this was, hey, if we're in this situation, we're going to go for it on 4th down, and here's the play we're going to run. Everybody on the same page? We all got the details figured out? All right, ready? Break. And then they go out there and they line up wrong. And you can see it in Jordan Love's reaction. Son of a, what the?
Right.
Oh, dudes, details. Proof is in the pudding, brother.
Yeah.
Like, if this is the play that's going to work here on 4th down, maybe line up in the right spot.
Right. And that's one of the big differences between, when we were comparing earlier in the week, Campbell to Matt LaFleur and the type of coaches they are. If Matt makes this switch and gets more decisive, to what Jordan Love was saying, it's not going to matter if the players don't go out there and execute. Right now, I feel like it's on both sides, though. I mean, that's when you know that everything's falling apart on a play. When that's the play call and that's how it's executed. That's not on one side or the other. That was everybody. Everybody put your hand up. It's all y'all's fault.
Yeah. No. I'm a cornerback.
Well, except for Keyshawn. All right.
I'm a cornerback.
He's a cornerback. Come on.
Holy hell. Well, we'll find out more. We're going to chat on Monday with Wayne Larrivee, and they're going to do so today on 9 to noon as well to get the inside scoop on what's going to happen on Monday night. Packers, Wayne Larrivee, 9 to noon with Kuhn this morning at 10 o'clock here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. When we come back, we mentioned it yesterday, and obviously it's been all over the news the last 24 hours. As Josh and I were getting off the air yesterday, news broke, 24-year-old Dallas Cowboy Marshawn Nealand had passed away. We had no information then. It was just literal breaking news. And then we've all learned since then what happened. Josh and I care a lot about mental health. We're going to take just a few minutes in the next segment to make sure you all know how much it matters to us and how much it should matter to you. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Stay here. Welcome back, Wisconsin, Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. So I mentioned it before we went to break. Yesterday at the end of the show, Josh and I had learned that Marshawn Nealon from the Dallas Cowboys had passed away. And that didn't make any sense. 24 years old, had just had an incredible weekend in regards to his profession in the NFL. And you and I and everyone went, oh, God, I hope this isn't what it appears to be, because this doesn't add up. And now all the details have come out. And I'm going to be the first to tell you, and I know Josh will agree, the details don't matter. How he passed away, in what effort, what happened before that, where they found him, none of that matters. What matters is mental health. I have a friend, literally, Josh, right now, texting us from Kathmandu, Nepal.
Okay.
In this very moment. He is there, 7:30. What time is it? 7:47 p.m. He's on his way to the highest base camp of Mount Everest. It's a 14-day overall trek, but he went out there early to do some volunteering. And he says, by the way, the show is effing great.
Well, thank you.
And I'm going, what are you doing in Nepal, man? And he says this: I've come to learn that all of this, and by the way, what all of this is an effort by him and his wife, Lisa, to, quote, no more some days. They're going through life looking at all of their adventures that they are so amazing at performing and doing and experiencing. And they're saying, no more Sundays, no more some days. How about today? Today is our someday.
Sure.
And I asked him, how good is this for your mental health? And he said this: I've come to learn that it's probably the biggest piece of this, mental health. Not only is a lot of this stuff physically challenging, all these adventures that he goes on, but being immersed into different cultures and then becoming so intertwined into the climate, it is so incredible. Tomorrow, he's going to volunteer at an orphanage, and you can imagine what that does for your soul. That's how he and Lisa choose to build up and maintain a healthy level of mental health. And it's not that easy for everybody. Asking for help isn't easy. Josh and I both have personal stories of mental health struggles where at the end of the day, we had to ask for help. And that, buddy, is a hard thing to do.
Sure is.
So when it comes time to look at like the situation yesterday for Marshawn Nealon, leave it to humanity to go, oh, if you only would have asked for help. That's not how this works.
Right.
Everybody is busy with their own situation. Everybody's lost in their own little world. It's one of my favorite things in a song by one of my favorite bands. Your neighbor is going through something you know nothing about. Literally know nothing about. And how do we support that in each other? On the way to the studio this morning, 4:45 a.m., I'm coming down a hill to head to the studio, and all of a sudden I hit like an icy patch. It was not freezing, but thermals, temperatures change at the bottom of a hill. And I am now skidding down this hill, Josh. And there's a car coming through the roundabout, and they, luckily, were defensive driving and slowed down so I didn't T-bone them. But boy, did I get a look. And here it was an elderly couple at 4:45 in the morning. And my first thought was, sorry, and what the hell are you doing up at 4:45?
Yeah. Well, halfway through their day, probably.
Right. Off to breakfast? Doubt it.
Yeah.
Maybe they're on their way to the hospital. Maybe one of them is battling cancer.
Who knows?
We don't. And that's the whole point. So whatever Marshawn Nealon had going on in his life, and it ended so tragically yesterday, maybe it's up to us. Josh, you can share your thoughts on this, but one of the most amazing things in regards to mental health that has come across my plate is people go, if you need anything in life, don't hesitate to call. That's not how this works.
Yeah. Listen, it's very difficult and if you've been in a situation where you've been depressed or your mental health has just been off, then you know where I'm coming from when I say that it's not cookie cutter. There's not a program. There's not a plan. There's not something that someone who isn't depressed or battling issues with their mental health can just say, oh, well, why don't you just do this? It's not how it works.
Right. No.
And one of the hardest things about battling mental health issues is that we all try to communicate one way or another with each other to help ourselves and help others. And it's very difficult to get those thoughts out and communicated correctly. People will say, well, what's wrong? I don't know. Well, how can I help? I don't know. Don't worry about it. I can't. And you don't know how to say it. That doesn't mean that there's not a problem. It's just very difficult to do. And so I just want to stress the importance of saying, check on the people you love about, be the ones that are proactive. And more than that, just have patience with them. They can't figure it out. Talk to them. Keep talking to them. Be like the media talking to Matt LaFleur about the tush push. Keep pushing it. Keep asking about it until you know and you're confident that that person's doing all right. Because you never know. You never know.
Here's the problem. We just got a text on the Nicolay Law fan talking text line. I'm not even going to say the area code. Here's what it reads. It says, I mean, it's tragic and my heart goes out, but we are all in the same boat. No, we
No,
are
you're not. You're in a different boat.
You're in your own boat.
And I don't know what you're going through in your boat, but you
But it
don't know what
matters.
he was going through in his boat.
Your boat matters, man. My
That's
boat matters.
That's the point. That's the point.
The problem is we have to look at each other with our own individual stories. And holy Judgy Judgerson, does the internet allow for when something like this happens with a professional athlete to go, but he had this and he had that. He had just scored a touchdown. How much money is in his bank account? It doesn't matter.
Right.
My story affects me 100%, as does your story, and they're completely different. And whoever's listening, your story is not my boat. It's yours. And so the message of all of this is, if you feel this way, there are people and resources for you to at least call 988. It is Wisconsin's mental health and suicide crisis line. Use it. Asking for help is the hardest thing on the planet. But not asking for help when you know or believe you may need it, man, that's on you. Do it. Pay attention to yourself. Or as Marshawn Lynch would say, take care of your mentals.
There you go.
And take care of your chickens. Caleb Durbin is next. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
It is back, and it is gone! Caleb Durbin walks it off for the Brewers! After all that, the top of the ninth inning, Caleb Durbin on one swing says goodnight.
That's fun. This is going to be fantastic. What's up, Wisconsin? Welcome in Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. You know, the season didn't end the way we all wanted, but by golly, GD it, we can celebrate it, can't we? That
Sure
was a
can.
celebratory moment right there. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht, and our guest here at the top of the 8 o'clock hour on Inside Wisconsin Sports, Caleb Durbin, Milwaukee Brewer, and soon to be, I don't want to jinx it.
No, don't jinx it.
Okay. He's a finalist
Okay.
for NL Rookie of the Year. There we go. Caleb, what's up, man? Thanks for being here.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
So tell us about the year, because clearly it went well for you. That hit, amongst others, home runs, the best record in baseball, and, oh, yeah, this award that you may or may not win on Monday. How do you summarize what your year was with the Milwaukee Brewers organization?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. That's kind of how I summarize it. Obviously, like you said, it didn't end how we wanted it to end, but now, I've had some time to kind of sit back and put it all in perspective. And, going into it, I think as a rookie, you're just kind of trying to learn and find your way and see where you fit in. And you're kind of learning as you go. And I think you're just trying to help produce, anything you can to try to help the team win. And the biggest thing is it's a big year for development and learning at the big league level. And then also trying to produce at the same time and help the team win. So I think from, learning experience, it was, awesome. And obviously having the chance to play some postseason baseball and being there, right in the end, was awesome and a great opportunity.
Caleb, you are a candidate to become the fourth Rookie of the Year in Brewers history after Pat Listash in 92, Braun in 07, and then Devin Williams in 2020. Obviously, it would be a huge deal for the organization to be able to add you to that list. But tell us a little bit about, what you went through your emotion-wise when you found out that you were a finalist and what that would mean to you personally.
Yeah. So it's funny, like when I found out, I just got tagged on an Instagram post by MLB. So I was kind of thrown off, I didn't,
Really?
yeah. And then the next day, our media guy with the Brewers, Mike Vassallo, he gave me a call and gave me a little more information on the selection show and whatnot. So I was kind of thrown off guard. I was like, wait, what is this? But it was cool. Obviously a huge honor. I think, there's a ton of rookies that are, deserving of, being up there, a lot on my own team. I think we got 3 or 4 guys on the Brewers alone that, could be up for it. So to be, representing the Brewers is a huge honor. And yeah, but that being said, I think we got a couple other guys that could be up there as well.
Yeah, and thank God for Instagram, apparently.
What? That is wild.
That's insane.
Good thing. So, in case you were wondering, Wisconsin, Caleb Durbin checks all the Instagram tags that he gets put on, apparently.
He has to. He has to.
You imagine missing that? Like, hey, man, congrats. Congrats on what?
What happened?
Bro, big news. You're one of the finalists. Oh, is that what that tag was? Damn. That's crazy.
Well, when MLB tags you check it out and see what's going on.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that notification came across the old Apple Watch going, I have questions.
I got to check that one.
Milwaukee Brewers, Caleb Durbin. You're no stranger to Wisconsin, Caleb. You are a Fond du Lac dock spider at heart. And as a matter of fact, I'm looking right now at my computer screen to my right. The holiday 4-pack from the Dock Spiders presented by Quick Trip is out right now for fans to purchase. And buddy, I don't know if you know this, but you're the face of the franchise and the holiday 4-pack. What was your time like in Fond du Lac?
Yeah, I'm a proud Dock Spider. That was an awesome time for me. I played Division III baseball, so playing in the Northwoods League, having a chance to play against a really high level competition over the summer, a ton of Division One guys in that league, having the chance to, play with a wood bat. It was awesome. Super valuable experience for me. And Fond du Lac, they treat their players great. The community around the team is awesome. Uh, they have such a good support system with their host families. I still talk to my host family all the time, which it helps playing for the Brewers now. They're able to, come to some games and, come visit me in Milwaukee. So the way it all worked out, being, playing my summer ball in Wisconsin now, it feels like home because, I'm used to it. I spent 2 summers in Fond du Lac, so, not much has changed.
The Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Caleb Durbin joins us on Inside Wisconsin Sports.
Caleb, the news came out yesterday about Brandon Woodruff, and he's been kind of in the conversation the last few days in regards to what he's been going through and if the Brewers were what was going to happen. He didn't take his option, and now he got a qualifying offer. As someone that, he's your teammate, you're playing, what does that mean to you to know that the Brewers put that offer out there to bring Woodruff back for another year?
Yeah, it's great. I'm not surprised because there's a lot that Woody brings to the table outside of just his, on-field production. Obviously, he had a great year this year coming back from, I wasn't here last year, but I know, from what I've heard, it was a tough battle back, and he did great, persevering through it and getting back and really helping us, down the stretch here. So that's, takes care of itself, his production on the field, but he's really, Murph talks about it all the time. He's one of our big pillars because the way he competes, the way he carries himself, his leadership for the younger guys, all that's so valuable that, doesn't, that's not really necessarily will show up on the field, but that's in the clubhouse. And that's a big part of what Woody brings. Because that's, he's a big part of what our identity is as far as, the way we want to compete, the way we want to act and play the game. So yeah, I'm not surprised, but definitely good knowing that, they're trying to bring back some key pieces for us.
Caleb Durbin, Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. All right, Caleb, take us back April 18th, 2025. You make your debut as a Milwaukee Brewer. Every time we talk to a professional athlete on this show or the podcast that we're a part of, it's always like, well, yeah, man, it was just normal business. I got the call up. There I was. BS. Tell us the truth. What was that like?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Anyone who says that is lying because your debuts, there's a lot going on. As far as, you got a lot more people reaching out to you. You've worked towards this goal your whole entire life for the most part, and then you finally get there. And even throughout the minor leagues, it's never guaranteed. So you're putting all this work throughout your entire life, hoping you get there, then you finally get there. But it felt like I had to force myself to eat because I had these like butterflies in my stomach all day that, was filling my stomach up. But I knew I had to get some energy in there. So, I would try to fill my plate up big and eat a little bit at a time. But that really didn't go away till the last pitch. So I was having, those butterflies all game. But I mean, it was so much fun. That's kind of what it's all about. And, to make my debut in Milwaukee, which is only an hour from where I grew up, was really a dream come true for me.
Caleb, you are not the only person in the Brewers organization up for an award, end of season award. Obviously, Pat Murphy up for what should be back-to-back NL Manager of the Year. Just talk to us about what it's like playing for Murph and what makes him unique in comparison to other coaches you've had throughout your career to get you to the majors.
Yeah, so this was my first year in the big leagues, obviously. So
right,
first year kind of playing for a big league manager. And Murph has a lot of experience in college ball, and people like to say he kind of brings, that to the table as far as really focusing on the details. And kind of the best way I can describe Murph is he's really good at making you feel comfortable, because it feels like he believes in you. He gives you a lot of confidence, but he's also gonna keep you accountable and hold you to a really high standard. So you got kind of the best of both worlds where he's got your back, but he's also gonna get on you if um he thinks you need to step up your game, or he just really wants everyone to sets the standard high for the level of play and the way we want to play the game. Um, but there's no one you want to no coach that's gonna have your back more than Murph too. So you definitely got both those things going for you.
Caleb Durbin, Milwaukee Brewer and finalist for NL Rookie of the Year, joining us on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. All right, so you had your first home run a little earlier this season, and then the walk-off that we played at the top of the hour on June 7th. Do you have either of those balls?
I have both of them. Yeah, I have both of them.
Let's go.
I have five balls. So I have my first hit, first home run. The first home run was away, luckily. So they threw it back on the field, probably not knowing it was my first one. They could have got a signed bat or something out of it. And then I have the walk-off home run. Luckily, I hit it into our bullpen. One of our pitchers, DL Hall, caught it and gave it to me in the locker room. And then I have a walk-off hit that stayed in play at home. And then I have a fifth ball, and the fifth ball is just like my ninth home run or something that I must have hit in the bullpen. But I got to keep five of them, which is pretty cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that is very cool. Caleb, obviously a lot of people talked about the World Series would have been better, in our opinion, if the Brewers would have been there. I'm sure yours as well. But a lot of people saying that it was just an incredible World Series, but the idea of this money versus not money conversation has been there a lot. How much does that sink into what the players hear, what you guys hear, and how do you kind of block that out to continuing to just play the best baseball you can?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we definitely hear it. Even Murph will kind of try to use it to our advantage in a way of like, hey, it's no one thinks we can win, so let's go out there. We have nothing to lose. But at the same time, we're a team. Like, we have so many competitors. We have a lot of a good young core and some really good competitive veterans on our team. As a whole, it's like it's the mindset that it doesn't matter who's on the other side. And you kind of have to have that. When you got a team with rookies that are playing big roles and guys a couple of years in playing massive roles, then you can't be phased by who's on the other side, or how much money's on the mound, or whatever, because it doesn't matter. The game's played between the lines, and that's kind of been our mindset the whole year, and especially in the playoffs.
Few is the Brewer that was celebrated for hits in the NLCS. Facts are facts. You're one of them. What was it like going against those guys, man? Because apparently they're good.
Yeah. I mean, it felt like all those guys had, they're very talented pitchers, but they also pitched, really well for their talent level. They were, spotting up really well against us. And that's kind of what it takes. We had a great team. We had a great lineup, but in the postseason, it takes you have to have a great team, but you also have to be playing some of your best baseball near the end of the year, because there's going to be at least one team at the end, playing, really good baseball, relative to themselves. And, you got to be that team if you want to be there in the end. But again, just an awesome experience, even playing at Wrigley, Brewers, Cubs postseason, on the road at Wrigley. They're chanting Freddie's name as loud as anything, in Game 4. And I've never seen anything like that besides like high school football, but now it's a whole stadium doing it. So just that whole experience and getting to go against that type of competition was, super cool, opportunity. And, hopefully we'll be able to build on it as a team moving forward.
How do you not get the yips? I mean, I've never done anything professionally other than what I'm doing now. The yips are a real thing. How do you battle those?
Yeah, I think you just gotta, take it a pitch at a time. You try to block out your environment and really just focus on, getting ready for the pitch that's coming, right? Whether it's at the plate or, On defense, Murph talks all the time about winning pitches. At the end of the day, that's all you can do from the first pitch to the last. You can't think too far ahead in the future to the next inning or the next game. You just got to stay in the moment and be present. And I think that's how you're able to kind of block out the noise.
All right, last question. I'm vertically challenged. I'm 6'8". And if you don't think that's vertically challenged, my 5'7" friend, you're wrong. I just got it the opposite way. What are you up against as a professional athlete when you are 5'7", yet, dude, you're jacked. You're jacked.
Well, yeah, I think the biggest thing, it's you kind of almost have this extra hurdle to climb throughout the process because you're, there's the eye test, and if you're a certain height, you don't pass the eye test. So you have to kind of break through, that stereotype of, being a smaller guy. On top of that, I played Division 3 baseball. So you're a 5'6" Division 3 kid. Um, there's a lot more guys like me out there than there are, five-star recruits or whatnot. But um, I think that's the biggest thing is just the stereotype of, oh, I'm not as good because of my height. Because when I get on the field, I don't think there's that big of a difference. I feel like Aaron Judge in the box. You know what I mean? So obviously that's not
Love
what I
that.
look like. That's not what I look like. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is kind of getting over what other people think.
Do people ask you how tall you are? Because that is so dumb that people just, hey, buddy, how tall are you?
No, they don't. I think that would be a little more, it's more of a compliment when they ask you because you're, a little bit taller.
Do you think?
It'd probably come off, I mean, I don't care how tall I am, but I don't
Me
get it too
neither.
much in public. I'm
Yeah,
more
clearly.
average in public though. You stand out a little bit more, when you're on the streets.
A little bit. I do not blend in well. Caleb Durbin, Milwaukee Brewer. Thanks for jumping on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. And preview, Caleb Durbin will be the next guest on the Inside Wisconsin podcast. What we didn't get to ask him here, we are going to deep dive with Caleb, and it comes out in a few weeks. I appreciate you jumping on here. So does Josh. And I'm going to chat with you in, I don't know, an hour and a half, something like that. We'll talk to you in a little bit.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Caleb.
Thanks, Caleb. Caleb Durbin on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. See, he gets it. I mean, why would people walk up to him and ask him how tall he is? They don't.
I don't think he gets it. I think he was kind of like, listen, man, that's a you problem.
He did.
I'm good. I'm good where I am.
He had empathy. That I heard. I think
okay, I'll give you that.
He knows what I'm going through, and I know what he's going through. It's just different.
Yeah,
it's just different. And he's a big league player. How cool!
That's
not lost on
great answers, by the way.
And that's not lost on Josh and I, by the way. I mean, my phone started blowing up the second we started talking to Caleb Durbin, and the text I got right here, Caleb freaking Durbin. Yeah, that was Caleb freaking Durbin. Our thanks to the Fond du Lac Dock Spiders for helping us set that up. We're super grateful to all that they have going on down there and for having Caleb Durbin's cell phone number. Super grateful for that. We appreciate it. Check out their holiday 4-pack. It's presented by Quick Trip. DocSpiders.com. If you haven't been to a Northwoods League game, you're missing out. They're fantastic, perfect for the family. If you live in the Fond du Lac area, get to a Doc Spiders game. All right, up next, we pivot and go back to the Packers. Our guy, Andy Herman from the Pack a Day podcast joins us. We are Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Welcome back, Wisconsin, inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Time to check in with our guy on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. That's Andy Herman, the Pack a Day podcast. Follow him on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. Usually we go, all right, Andy, we talked to you on Monday, then we're going to talk on Friday, and then we're going to talk on Monday again after a Packers game. But they play Monday. So what's new and what do we have? What have we learned this week, my friend?
Well, it's good to talk to you guys. I didn't get the
buddy.
Brewers memo today. My apologies. So next time, just shoot me a memo with the Brewers stuff with you guys. Not a ton new. What we learned this week so far, I would say, is just some of the injury stuff, right? Well, we learned they didn't make any trades at the trade deadline. We learned that they're interested in Asante Samuel, and we learned that Dontavian Wicks returned to practice. Some of the guys that got banged up, like Aaron Banks, are practicing this week, which is good. And then we learned that LVN, Savion Williams, and of course Nate Hobbs, which we knew about already, are not practicing, at least as of yet. So a couple takeaways, but almost had the feeling of like a very, very, very mini bye week with that extra day off in the middle, only one day of practice so far. And obviously gearing up for a massive, massive game with Philadelphia this week.
Andy, we played it in the 7:00 hour, but LaFleur said in his presser, we're going to have both kickers kicking today. And we're going to see how McManus feels and blah, 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 blah. What were your thoughts on that comment from Coach?
Well, it certainly opened the door because the day before it certainly made it seem like Brandon McManus was going to remain the kicker and be the guy. And then the next day it's, he said, it's open to competition and they're both going to kick. I think it was kind of two different questions. I think the first one is like, are you going to continue with McManus on the first press conference? And his answer was yes, like that's the plan. And then the next day it's like, what are you going to, are these two competing? And he kind of gave his generic of like, well, there's always a competition anytime there's player, so I think their plan seems to still be McManus, but I do think that this opens the door a crack. And to some extent, when you're rostering a kicker on your 53 for the second kicker on your roster for, on the 53 for 3 or 4 weeks now. I mean, I would hope that there's some consideration to what you're doing. Otherwise, it doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense for him to be on the active roster. So I'm sure they both did kick yesterday. He did seem to tip his hand the prior day on Wednesday it was, that McManus is their, I guess, preferred kicker. But if McManus is legitimately struggling with the injury and it's not healing and he's not kicking the way that they want, it does open that window. And I would hope that does remain the case, that it is a competition the way things have gone so far.
Josh and I had an aha moment this morning, and we realized that Jalen Hurts is our fault. We did not put 2 and 2 together that the last time the Packers beat the Eagles was December 6th, 2020. We were thumping them pretty good, 20-3, and Doug Peterson's like, Carson, you're done. Jalen, you're in. And that's when the fight started for the rest of the NFL. Did you realize that was against the Packers back in 2020, that Jalen Hurts essentially was good enough to become the starter?
Yeah, I didn't remember so did he become the starter the following week right after that? Yeah.
December.
So that I did not recognize. I remember his cameo appearance in that game and him looking good. And, obviously Carson had some struggles leading up until that point. So I remember that game very well. And I remember Jalen Hurts again coming in and doing a very admirable job coming in. I did not recall at all that it was the very next week that he just took the starting job at that point.
So with that, knowing they have a running quarterback and Saquon Barkley, stopping the run is a fairly important piece to this, and it seems to be something they're concentrating on at 1265. Yet, if you ask Keyshawn Nixon, hey, man, what are you going to do to help stop the run? I don't know. I'm a cornerback. Okay. What? How are we going to stop the run?
Well, yeah, there's a lot to worry about when it comes to Philly, right? So, and there's a lot of Achilles heels with Green Bay's defense that don't play well to this. I would say their run defense has been really good on the season, but in the first half against Pittsburgh, it looked very leaky until Pittsburgh kind of abandoned it in the second half. And part of that was Green Bay scoring points and whatnot. But Pittsburgh still kind of got away from it in the second half, sort of inexplicably. I think their injured left guard played a piece in that, not being able to go jumbo as much because their jumbo player went in at left guard for them. But that first half was very leaky against Pittsburgh. And then, of course, this past week against Carolina, the run defense was really bad. And that was basically how Carolina won the game. And now, Rico Dowdle is very good. You could see it last week, but, Saquon Barkley's a level up from that. and that Philly offensive line is a level up from where Carolina's offensive line is. So, I mean, the semi good news there is that a lot of that did come with Colby Wooden out of the game, and with him being hurt, does seem like he's going to be able to go. That will certainly help. I think they need to have 5 defensive tackles active. I said that before last game. They went with 4, then Colby gets hurt and you're down to 3, and none of them really being a true sort of nose, well, other than Stackhouse is an undrafted rookie free agent, none being that kind of nose tackle type. So I think they need to change that up a little bit. It was, Matt mentioned this as well, but it was uncharacteristic. Some of the stuff, just the edge setting the last couple of weeks, which they've usually been extremely good at for the last year and a half, was a little bit shaky. And then I thought their inside linebacker play, where usually those two have been really great, is Cooper and Quay, that is, at maybe not taking on blocks and shedding, but kind of avoiding those blocks from the 300-pound like offensive lineman and going and making the play. They struggled with that last week. So that was a bit of a one-off. We haven't really seen that so far this year. So I think there's things that they can do, but where the other Achilles heel is as well is they really struggle one-on-ones with wide receivers on the outside. And so if you end up having to commit that extra defender, that extra safety into the box, now it's AJ Brown and Devontae Smith one-on-one on the outside with Keyshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine in this game. And I don't think that's where you want to live either. And then, as you mentioned, you also have to worry about the running quarterback, which Green Bay's been better, knock on wood, against so far this year. Jaden Daniels, et cetera, they've not, been successful, but a lot of ways they've done that is by committing extra bodies and kind of keeping the quarterback entrapped. And again, you commit extra bodies and receivers are one-on-one on the outside a little bit more. And that's a scary proposition with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith.
Andy, Matt was also asked a lot about the tush push in the presser yesterday, and not just about how to stop it, but also why did you stop using it? I thought that was interesting as well. Do you have any thoughts on not only how the Packers can try to be the team to stop it? Hopefully it doesn't play a huge part, but also why they went away from it themselves. I mean, we called it the love shove, I believe, but why that went away?
Yeah, I honestly, I guess I hadn't even really thought about it too much. And then the other one too is like now it's obviously gone, but the Tucker Kraft QB sneak has not been utilized either. So yeah, I'm not sure they haven't. I don't think they've had a lot of like 4th and inches sort of plays. And Josh Jacobs has been so good in those short yardage situations, especially in the red zone, that it's almost difficult not to give the ball to Josh Jacobs right now, because he's finding those creases and getting in the end zone almost no matter what. I don't know if it's something that Elton's not comfortable with at center. Maybe that has something to do with it. I'm not sure. But that is an interesting aspect that I hadn't thought of all that much. And yeah, they probably are going to need it at some point. As far as Philly goes, listen, as a fan of the NFL, I'm a Packers fan first, but as a fan of the NFL, I would beyond love if Nick Sirianni received the ball the first play of the game, just tush push. First play, it would harken back to the Hack-a-Shack by Greg Popovich when he was criticized for doing Hack-a-Shack, and on the very first play of the game, the other, I forget what team Shaq was on at the time, but they win the tip off, and Popovich goes and has 2 guys just immediately hack Shaq on the right after the first tip, and Shaq looks over at Popovich, and Popovich just goes, ha, like it was fantastic. So I would love the troll by the Eagles and Nick Sirianni, and if there's any coach that would do it, it might be Nick Sirianni. If they got the ball in on the very first play, just went tush push because of the Packers stuff, it would be very hilarious.
Wow.
God, if that doesn't happen, I'm going to be so pissed.
Oh,
Thanks for putting that in my head.
There's no way that happens.
There's probably
on
not,
the
but it would be
first
amazing.
play, no.
God, that'd be so
Maybe
good.
first drive. Like, I'm sure we'll see it, but not on 1st and 10.
We got to get to him somehow. That's got to happen. Oh, that'd be so good. The NFL would be so pissed, and it would be so good if they did that. That'd be amazing,
especially on national TV, Monday Night Football. Like,
right.
Again, if there's if you do it, I mean, you need to extend that drive. You can't go 3 and out, and you probably like winning the game would need to be the thing too. That like we ran the tush push on you the first play, national TV, and then we went and won the game. You also risk the like. Are the Packers going to get more fired up and ticked off because you do that? Are they going to play harder, etc.? Yeah, but it would still be the ultimate.
You just
troll.
listed all the reasons why it won't happen, which
I totally agree. No, I don't expect it to happen. It would just be hilarious if it did happen.
Oh man,
Andy Herman at Andy Herman NFL on Twitter. The Pack a Day Podcast 365 every single day. God, I don't know how I'm going to get that out of my head now. Thanks a lot, Andy. Like I really want that. But is it? Let's just say hypothetically they do that, and you guys are right. That would really energize the Packers. Does that make them line up right on offense, or does that help them be more consistent on offense? Because Jordan was asked about that yesterday in the locker room, and he said the attention is in the details. So how do we get everybody to be on the same page and pay attention to the details on offense?
Yeah, that's coaching. They've got to figure that out. It was one of the first things that I noted in my film review. I wrapped it up yesterday, put the episode up, and as you guys know, watch every player on every play. And what really stood out to me, we talk all about the play calling, which again, I thought was one of Matt's worst performances of his career this past week. But you really could see some of the route running and attention to detail that I thought was just completely lacking on offense. There were some routes that, I mean, guys, it almost looked like guys were just going through the motion or they were running the route for the very first time. I thought Malik Heath really struggled with trying to get any sort of separation. So some of this gets, just put generically on play calling. I thought execution was very bad. And again, that's not absolving some of the play calls, which were really bad in this game. In fact, it's sort of the interesting thing is a lot of people upset with the play calls and the quick bubble screens and things like that, which some of them, the third down one was brutal. But I actually thought that Matt got a little over aggressive, even on tilt a little times, and just tried to hit some of those plays down the field. Jordan did too. Jordan was a piece of that, but Matt had a couple of play calls in there where it's just like, they're playing soft zone coverage. Why are there'd be basically like a 2-man route, and there's like 6 defenders that were just clouding the entire. It's like there's nowhere to go on that type of play. So, but then on other plays, there was just some really poor execution as well. I talked about route running, but just to give a few examples. So, the Savion Williams fumble is an example of like, oh, what the heck, another bubble screen. It's not a bubble screen. Well, ish. So it's a run solution. It's a called run play where if they are stacking the box and you've got defenders off your receivers, you throw the quick, run solution to the outside, basically saying like, if Romeo makes his block, we're going to get more yardage, maybe 3, 4, 5 yards on that little bubble than we are going to on running the ball into a stacked box. So it's a totally normal NFL play call. And in that situation, Jordan made the right read. It's good to go to the receiver in that situation. Romeo blows the block, and then Savion runs right into Romeo, and then Savion compounds it by fumbling. Not great execution on that play. There's a play, or very first passing play of the game, where Jordan ends up checking it down to Josh Jacobs, and almost looks like it's going to be picked, and then Jacobs attacks the ball and cuts inside and makes 2 people miss. Luke Musgrave is coming wide open through the middle of the field and up to the right side, probably a 40-yard play that's right there. It looks like Jordan's looking right at it. Maybe he's just looking at Tucker and doesn't see Luke, but it is wide the heck open, and Jordan just doesn't see it. There's another play where Romeo comes open in the end zone for a touch, what I would call NFL open. It's not tight, but you're going to have to make a good throw on it. But he's open in the end zone for a touchdown, and he sees a kind of a in-swinging player coming inside and looks like it's going to get pressure, but the offensive line actually picks it up well, and he abandons the pocket because he thinks that guy is going to get through and does a rollout to the right and has to dirt the ball. If he just stays in the pocket or if he gets out of the pocket and just resets rather than continuing to roll out, he's going to hit Romeo for a touchdown, and instead it ends up being an incomplete play. So some of the route running, the decision making, it's not just play calling. There's plenty of that as well to complain about. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of the execution on some of the plays that were called well was very much lacking as well.
Andy, I know obviously it's Pack-A-Day podcast, not Brew-A-Day podcast, but you are a huge Brewers fan, and I need to know your opinion as well, as we've asked throughout the show and earlier for sure in the 6 o'clock hour. Brandon Woodruff, they're gonna offer to pay him $22 million to come back for a year. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I had to do some reading up on this yesterday because I was surprised / semi-confused at first.
Yes.
So it definitely took me back. But a couple of things that I think were smart after I read about it a little bit more. Obviously, this covers you if he signs somewhere else, that you are going to get a competitive balance draft pick, a sandwich pick, whatever you want to call it, in between either the first and second, or second and third round, depending on how much he signs for. So I think protecting yourself there makes sense. And then the other thing that is probably smart to remember here too, if he does accept it and you end up paying him $22 million, if I remember correctly, the $22 million. It doesn't mean that you can't trade him. It doesn't mean that he has to stay on your roster for 1 year, $22 million. And I think probably some team, maybe if it's not now, even at the trade deadline, potentially would be interested in trading for him, which at that point you're eating half the salary. So what you're basically taking insurance out on is that you're going to get nothing in return for Brandon Woodruff if he leaves in free agency and you have nothing to show for it. And I think one of those two things is likely to happen. Or it sometimes these things too, I could be wrong in baseball. So correct me if I'm wrong on this, but even if he signs the 1 year 22, I don't think that precludes him from signing a longer term deal as well. So that could be a more of a negotiating tactic as well. So I would be, in a way, a little bit stunned if he ends up on a 1 year 22, which I know is kind of 32 because of the money
buyout.
they took, the buyout already. But I would be a little bit stunned. But I do think it's a way to either recoup something if he does end up, not accepting it and leaving in free agency, or if they just utilize him to trade to one of the rich teams. That 22 million is just like, what is 22 million? Whereas to the Brewers, that's a big deal. So we'll see, but that would be my guess.
I like that answer.
What don't you know? That's impressive.
I have one. I don't know. I don't know why I don't get to enjoy football in Madison until at least 2027. That's what I don't know. I have no.
There you go.
And I don't know. Again, I'm not generally the guy that is rah rah. Let's fire everyone. I want this guy to lose his job. This is a pretty simple one. It feels like a pretty simple one, and I know that there's a lot of money attached. To which makes it not simple. But my goodness. Hire Steve from accounting instead. Like that's already on staff. Like, there's got to be somebody there that knows some football that can just take over. That is a remarkable decision, and one that I know I will be. I'm not a huge college football guy, but I do enjoy the Badgers when they're good, and I'm not expecting that for a long while now. So yeah, there we go.
They're not. Andy Herman, the Pack a Day podcast, and joins us every Monday and Friday here on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. All right, Andy, we're done. But the question is, when are we going to talk to you next? So we can chat Monday. However, they play Monday night. And last time you got zero sleep, you showed up on this thing in a football helmet, and you didn't know which way was up. So Can we talk with you on Tuesday next week? Does that work for you?
Tuesday is potentially great. I think we can probably make that work. We might need to go a little bit early depending on a couple things, but we can probably make that work.
You tell us and we'll make it work. So we'll follow up with you on Tuesday. We'll dot the I's and cross the T's on the time, but that way we get your reaction to Monday Night Football, Packers, Eagles. We appreciate it, man. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Andy.
I'm also very glad that I didn't, right after, joining us next, Luke Fickell here on the, okay. All right. Sorry about that. Well, you guys have a great weekend.
Oh,
See you,
love
man.
it. Thanks, bud.
Andy Herman at Andy Herman NFL, the Pack a Day podcast. When we come back, we will do our best to preview the weekend for you in What's Up Wisconsin. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Hey, it's Josh Albrecht here from my friends at Henry Flock's Steakhouse in West Dallas. Henry Flock's is always introducing new items like their calamari, seasoned perfectly and served with house-made vodka sauce. Speaking of that vodka sauce, you got to try the shrimp and scallop pasta topped with Parmesan. It is so good. And don't forget about their incredible drinks like the Ruby Slipper or your classic Supper Club favorites like a pink squirrel or orange dreamsicle ice cream drink. Whether it's an exceptional steak or something different, there's always an amazing meal waiting for you at Henry Flock's Steakhouse. It's so much more than just a steak place.
Well, what's up, Wisconsin? What do you got going on tonight, tomorrow, Sunday? We all know what's going on Monday, so we don't got to cover that. Packers don't play this weekend. They play Monday night, Lambeau Field, against the Philadelphia Eagles coming into town with a little tush-push revenge, potentially. Josh, what are you doing this afternoon?
Well, for starters, since it's Friday, I'm going to be going to Natty Oaks to get a big old bowl of chili.
Thought you might.
Waiting all week for that. Oh, I'm so excited. Going to be doing that as soon as I'm done with the work here, post-show. And then I got a busy weekend because we're heading on that family vacay. On top of that, my brother-in-law is coming into town from D.C. He grew up here. He's a Packer fan. But he's coming here and then going to the game Monday night with a friend.
Oh, cool. Nice.
So we're going to be hanging out with him. So I got to clean the house, pack. Got a ton of stuff I got to do this weekend. Plus, you said the weather's going to not be great.
Not great.
And so I got to take care of, the leaves have been falling. Got to get some leaves together. Got to be doing some outside work as well. It's going to be okay that the Packers aren't playing on Sunday.
Probably for the better. I'm going to do a little bull hunting this afternoon. No chili in my future at the moment because I don't live by Natty Oaks like you do. I'm here in Northeast Wisconsin at WNFL. You're there at 12:50 a.m. and 105.7 FM, The Fan. But I will be taking my radio into the tree stand this afternoon. It is time. In the words of Rafiki,
it is time.
It is time.
Yes.
So that's this afternoon. In case you like the basketball, you've got a good schedule ahead of you. Badgers home tonight against NIU. That's at 7:30. GB at Buffalo tonight. That's at 5:30. And then Indiana at Marquette on Sunday at noon. There you go. You got the college slate covered. The NBA Cup kicks off tonight at Fiserv. Bulls at Bucks, 7 p.m. And then again on Sunday, Rockets at Bucks at 2:30.
Did you see the court? You see the images on social media of the court? Oh, I think it looks pretty good.
That's cool. I'll have to look
pretty
that
good.
up.
Looks like, celebrating the fact that they won.
In case you want to put yourself through a bunch of agony, check out the Wisconsin football game tomorrow at 3:30. Washington at Camp Randall. Washington's ranked 24th. Oh, it must get better from there. Sure doesn't. Indiana next weekend. Did you see that the Badger football program announced a few days ago that tickets for their game in 2027 against Pitt in Dublin went on sale?
I did know that because of our friend Tommy, who said to me, should I go to Ireland to see a football game? I was like, yeah, that sounds like a good use of funds.
If you find yourself bored at any point this weekend, today, tomorrow, Sunday, during the NFL, because you probably don't care because the Packers don't play till Monday, go to that post on Facebook. There are 436 comments that you're going to want to just spend some time reading because it is insane. What a time for, listen, if they were worth a hill of beans,
right,
we'd all be in Ireland. Tell me more. Yeah. Let's go to the homeland where the beer is. Okay.
Yeah, I can book that.
You know what? I would love to see if we can drink Ireland out of beer. When we travel from Wisconsin, it usually goes that way.
Yeah, I think we could.
If I don't know that we can.
Yeah, I think we can.
You think?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we're going to find out because I'm not sure how many of us are going on that, to be completely honest.
That's the truth.
When you say pack for Disney, does that take a while?
Yes, because of kids and babies and.
Well, but you have to wear a Disney shirt the whole time, right? That's required.
Well, yeah. I mean, I got plenty of Roosevelt shirts that are Disney related. So
what is the first one out of the box?
Oh, I don't. That's what I don't know yet.
Pressure.
I've got to go. You'll see photos. There'll be plenty of stuff on the social media at On Air Josh. I'll be posting it.
All right, Wisconsin, have a great weekend. Take care of each other, would you please? We chatted about mental health earlier, and you never know what somebody's going through, and it never stops. So check in on somebody that you love this weekend. Give them a hug and make sure they know that they matter, they are loved, and that the world is a better place with them in it. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We will chat with you on Monday. God, I hope they do the tush push first. That would be amazing.
Not going to happen.
I know it's not, but I want it to. Thanks, Andy, for putting that in my head. Love you, Wisconsin. We'll chat with you Monday.
Because we are not done yet.